Black Talk Radio Network is made possible in part with help from the Black Talk Media Project, a North Carolina-based nonprofit engaged in the production and distribution of independent digital black media. Find out more by going to blacktalkradionetwork.com or blacktalkmediaproject.org and look for the menu tab, Crowdfunding Black Media. Black Talk Media Project, helping to provide you with new black media for the new millennium. And opinions expressed by callers, guests, and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of the Black Talk Radio Network and Black Talk Media Project. Black Talk Radio is new black media for the new millennium.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another wonderful 2 hours of Blacks in Business Radio. I am one of your hosts, SiSi Harry, and I am joined with my co-host here, Brother Robert Elevenx. Robert, are you here?
Yes, I am. How are you, SiSi?
Okay. Are you hearing me okay?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me fine?
Yes, I can hear you fine. So, what are we talking about today?
Well, we're going to be talking about the tax lien opportunities that are possibly in the majority of the cities in the United States. There are some cities that go about these tax liens a little bit different than others when you don't have certain obstacles in the way, put it like that. And we're going to go further into that as we go into the show. But yeah, the tax liens, man, the real estate possibilities out there are great. And this is something that a lot of people tonight are going to get exposed to, these opportunities that can allow you to become a property owner for pennies on a dollar.
Right. Well, this is a continuation from, can you hear me? I can hear you just fine. Okay, now I can't hear you.
I'm still here.
I think some audio issues for some reason, but as I was saying, this is a continuation of the show that we had a couple weeks back. We were not on last week because our engineer and station manager, Scotty, was abolishing slavery, which is a wonderful thing. So we're back on this week, and again, we're going to continue from the last weeks ago that we we're dealing with this tax lien issue here in St. Louis, Missouri. Now, all around the country, there's tax deeds. Tax liens are different than tax deeds. I don't really know the distinction right now off the top of my head. We'll look it up, though. But St. Louis is such a great place to purchase the property because there is no redemption period. A redemption period is, let's say you purchase it then you have to wait maybe a year because the city gives the owner, the current owner, time to actually catch up with their taxes. And then, of course, they have to pay you interest and they have to pay you all the money back. But here in St. Louis, no. When you buy it, then the city just deeds it over to you and it is then your property. Now, Robert and I have a disclaimer. We have not purchased property yet through the tax sale. But our guest a couple weeks ago, Tiffany, did purchase property through the tax sale. And she was able to come on last week and talk to us about that. If you want to listen to that show, of course, you can go on blacktalkradionetwork.com and listen to the archive show. It was the last show that we did. So let's get started here. Robert, can you hear me okay?
I hear you great.
Okay, I'm having a problem hearing you for some strange reason. I don't know why. But I heard you say that, but it's okay. So we have a list here. How long is our list?
Oh, about 15 pages long. And you're looking at about, on every page.
That is a lot of property.
It's about 20 properties per page. So, I mean, you're looking at over about 300 to 400 properties that are available in St. Louis alone. And we're just talking about the city of St. Louis, not the county. And they have their own tax sale as well.
We'll be bringing that information to you all soon. I ran out of time. I was going over to the county to get this. Is very valuable information because we know this is how you build wealth, is by owning property. And owning property and not engaging in a 30-year mortgage with astronomical interest rates is how you gain wealth. And this is one of those things that we just haven't learned. And we're here to help you as we are helping ourselves, of course, because, again, Robert and I have not purchased property in this manner. So I have a video, and I'm going to play this video of a woman talking about her experience in purchasing property. It's not very long, but I'd like to present information so that people can, listen to other people outside of us as we explain. So this lady's name is Julia M. Spencer, and she's going to talk to you about her experience. So let me make sure the phone is up, and I'm going to play.
Hi, this is Julia, real estate advisor, investor, and enthusiast. And we are parked here in front of this house right here. I don't want to get out because I really don't want to bother the inhabitants right now. Somebody's living there. But this is one of the houses that I purchased a few months ago at a tax lien foreclosure. Tax lien foreclosures are a subject that I go into very big details into in my educational recordings on my website at www.juliamspencer.com. So a little bit background about this house. This record as of April 2015 is listed as being worth $59,000. It's about $40,000 for the structure and about $20,000 for the piece of land that it sits on. It's about a quarter acre. It's a decent sized house. I don't exactly know the layout inside because I've never been there, and that's kind of like what you get into when you buy tax lien foreclosures. You can't really go and see what's going on in there. But right now this house is sitting in the legal process of a year where I can't really do anything to it. I can't touch it. I can't kick the inhabitants out, and I can't collect rent or anything like that. I'm just kind of waiting to see if they pay me back or not. If the owners should choose to pay me back the money that I paid for the sheriff's deed that I got, they would have to pay me what I have paid plus 20%. If the waiting period goes even just one day over 1 year, they would have. And so either way, I'm either going to get my money back or I'm going to get the house, which is worth $60,000. It looks, as you can see, it looks like it needs some repair. There's some trash in the front. Basically, in general, it looks like it's not been kept up very well, I to think basically that the people don't have money to fix it, don't have money to pay their taxes, don't have money probably to pay for the insurance. So there's going to be some repairs to be done, and it's going to be fixer-upper. But I'm going to tell you why I bought this house. For this house right here, I paid $1,400. That's it. That's all you need to get started in real estate investing. $1,400, and this house is worth $59,000. This might not be very pretty yet. I probably wouldn't live in it the way it is. But if you look in the rest of the street, it's a cul-de-sac almost. There's a couple of really brand new houses down the street over there. So, and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with this one. To learn more tips and tricks on how to do what I'm doing, go to my website.
No, we won't be going to your website. But anyway, so that is that is a little short snippet of her experience on the tax lien. And if you heard her talk about she can't do anything for a year, that's because wherever she is, there's a redemption period. And as she said, she'll either be getting her money back because the owners have to pay her the money back with the interest, or, then it's her property if they don't do anything. So, I mean, it's exciting either way. But here in St. Louis, I'm like, Lord have mercy. I'm just so excited. I have this 15-page list of property. Now, we're going to go over some of these properties. We're going to Google search the properties in the areas, and we're going to place this list in our, if we can, we're going to place this in the Blacks in Business Radio. And I see that we have a comment. Yes, sir. What can we do for you today?
Hey, this is Scotty. Last week, as you announced, we had that historic march in Washington, D.C., so that's why Blacks in Business wasn't on radio. That was all on me. I was just up late preparing for that trip, want to make sure everything. But I do have a comment. I do watch from time to time Yvette Brown's Breaking Brown channel, and they talk about black wealth versus white wealth, and that black people, 4% of property is held by black people in this country, and the other 96% is non-black people, majority white people. And so that is real when you're talking about a wealth gap. Like you mentioned, property, real estate, that has a value to it. You can either flip it, like she mentioned, $1,400 at the very least. She's going to get 20% interest on that if they pay her back. That's, if I'm not mistaken, that's better than a money market CD. That's better interest rate than money market. 20%. I mean, that's pretty big. And so those that don't know what I'm talking about, you could take like $1,000 and, instead of just putting it in your savings account, purchase a 1 year money market CD. Now the money stay in your bank account, but you can't touch it. It's because it's tied up in that CD, and it's paying you a higher than average interest rate, but it's tied up for a year. This is much better what she talking about, because you're getting a higher interest rate, and then if they do not pay you back, she gonna own a estimated value of $60,000 house. So I mean, just taking all that into consideration, it just seems to me that that's a path for black people, something they very, very much should take a serious look at. Like, I'm in a 80-something% white county. So, because I would feel kind of bad kicking poor black families out. You know what I'm saying? And what have you. But, these people that have gotten stuff handed to them, this is stolen property to begin with, I wouldn't have a problem with kicking them to the curb. So this is something I'm going to look at seriously.
Okay, well, thank you for that comment, and I'm glad you said that, Scotty, because I had somebody, because I've been like a bullhorn for the last couple weeks with this list, like telling black people about this opportunity. And a woman did say that to me. She was like, well, I would feel so bad taking those people's house. Well, guess what? If you don't take somebody else, well, solution to that, you don't have to kick them out. You don't have to. You could turn them into renters. you could just simply have them paying you back. However, you can negotiate the deal if you don't want the people to go. But I mean, I hate to say it, 9 times out of 10, they're not paying because they can't pay. They can't pay anything. But everything is negotiable once you own the property. So you could do whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to set up some sort of small payment plan, you're still gaining that residual income. However you want to do it. Once you own this house, I'm looking at one right now for $671. As a matter of fact, it's the first one on the list, and it says the owner is Academy Home Care. If you with us right now, all you have to do is simply Google the list. Just type in, let me see if I can tell you the website, actually. If I can tell you this. I'll act like I'm texting it. So www.stgovernment.land-sales.cfm, or you could just Google it. St. Louis City, and then everything else is just going to lead you down a rabbit hole, I guess. But Robert,
yes, I'm here.
Okay, perfect. I hear you. So, what do you think about the comment, or not the comment, but the comment that Scotty made, and then also the video that we just listened to?
Well, I mean, it's definitely a great opportunity, and any real estate, in any way you can get it, can potentially be a great opportunity for the purchaser, no doubt about it. And the thing of it is you want to, we all pursue the American dream of having, getting wealthy and this, that, and the other, which is typically the ideal. This is a very capitalistic country. This is a sure way of actually getting your foot into being an owner in the real estate market, and paying pennies on a dollar. This is not even considered wholesale, to be quite honest with you. And a lot of people that's losing these properties, a lot of people inside the city that don't have the proper education on how to keep the properties. They really don't know what they need to know. I lost the building personally. I lost the building myself in the tax sale, and I went through that whole experience on that side of it. I wind up making money out of the building. I didn't care. I was ready to walk away from it. And I wasn't in the right state of mind at that time. And I can speak for a lot of people that have going through that process. You don't know what to do. You're not in the right state of mind. How they got in that position is, I'm pretty sure, is based on how they purchased the property, or just didn't pay taxes. They probably had the property free and clear and just didn't pay the property taxes. But again, the education level in our community is not where it needs to be for black folks to understand the value of owning real estate, and to lose it at these prices is just, man, it's just heart-wrenching. We don't really understand the true value of owning real estate, and to be losing your house for $1,000, $600, $2,000. I mean, you're losing generational wealth. So I see it as a double-edged sword. Is how I see it personally. I'm definitely a business person, and I totally get it. I totally get it. And I think Scotty said something about not feeling all that great about, getting property from, especially black folks that, for whatever reason, have lost it. There should be something in place that people can be pointed in the direction of to actually get the knowledge and assistance in keeping their properties, because I'm telling you, I went through that, and I know that feeling. Literally, the building that I lost was the building that my children, my grandmother, it was the first piece of property that I owned. So, as a person who lost something that's so sentimental to someone who very much capitalized off of it, I mean, I didn't walk away from that experience without getting a cash payout. I wound up getting $17,000 out of that deal, which a lot of people don't get that, and a lot of people don't know about that. So, I mean, on both sides of the coin, as a businessman, I totally get it. Totally get it, But as someone who lost that property, and that property that had sentimental value, it should be something in place for our people to not have to go through that, because we suffer from a lack of knowledge in our community. And it's easy for the sharks to come along and buy up those properties, because my property didn't just go to someone like yourself or myself that don't have a bankroll to go in there and spend $25,000. That's what they bought it for, $25,000 at the tax sale. So there's a lot of homes like that black people were handed down, and they lost at the tax sale. We talked to some people the other week, and some of the things that some of these black people were telling us about how little our people were losing these houses for me, it just really disturbed me. Now on the flip side, again, because I'm an entrepreneur to the heart. On the flip side, yes, it is definitely one of the best ways to actually buy real estate. No doubt about it, hands down, because of the amount that you put out versus.
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing. I think we have a little delay. Sorry, but like you were talking about, what Scotty said too. It's kind of like a child. Like you give, and they don't really know how to manage. It's given to them. A lot is happening with these properties too. Now, I spoke several times about my grandmother's property, which she owned with my aunt, and it wasn't even very long they owned the property, because they were gentrified out of the county, and so they moved to the city. Well, when the grandmother died, the property went to the aunt because of insurance. Then the aunt died, the property went to her children. Well, guess what? The children didn't care about the property. They didn't want the property. And this property is 8,000 square feet. So then, since they didn't care about it, just sits. They don't pay the taxes. And then the city takes it over. And these properties that becomes dilapidated, and then it goes on the LRA list. Now, I want to back up a little bit for our listeners, because there are people that are still they're saying they don't quite understand how it works. Okay, so let's kind of back up a little bit. These are tax lien properties. Let's just narrow it down to St. Louis. We are about people who own their home, and for whatever reason, they have not paid the taxes. And so now they are losing, they're not paid, I guess it's at least 2 years of taxes. Robert, is that what it is?
3 years.
It's 3 years of taxes? Okay, 3 years of taxes.
Year,
they haven't
paid.
The
third year, it goes on the list.
Okay, so they can skip the first two, not skip, but they kind of give you a pardon, I guess, for the first couple years. But then that third year, that's when your property that you own free and clear is going on the list. So that's where these people are. Now, we were talking to Tiffany, and there's opportunity in that too, because if people don't have the money to pay the first 2 years, you can go to these people and you can finance that. You can finance those first 2 years for them so they don't have to get out of their house. I mean, we have information on that, so you can contact us at weareblacksinbusiness@gmail.com if you want to, know what we're doing in that area. Just contact us because there's opportunity here. There's opportunity, one, to gain wealth through real estate, and two, help our people save their real estate from these gentrification things that are happening. It's funny because I was here in St. Louis in the 80s, 89, something like that. And the area that we lived in, of course, was not very bad. But now I see that area being gentrified. Those houses they're big houses because back in the day, white people used to live in them. They're huge mansion type of houses. This is not all the houses, but huge houses. But now, or then, let's see, it flipped over to the black people. Black people living in these houses. Now the white people want it back again. So they're doing the gentrification process. And these homes that are now going to be worth millions. So I'm not just saying this, but you all need to get a hold of this list. It's right online. Just go to the St. Louis City tax sale, go under the sheriff section, and you will see all of these properties. And you can do a simple Google on the property and see. And we are also offering a service to where we will go to the property for you because we're right here in St. Louis, and we have already gone to some of the properties, and we know what the neighborhoods look like, and we know what's being done. So if you're interested, definitely reach out to us. You can do that at weareblacksinbusiness@gmail.com. Now we're looking at like so many. I mean, it just makes no sense. I understand why, but why saving these situations is a whole another story. I mean, it's a crazy mindset, I think, that we have. I mean, I'm just looking at properties all over St. Louis, and if you know St. Louis, there's the city, there's the North City, then there's the South Side, and Robert likes the South Side. So, I mean, Robert, I know you're quiet because you're looking at this list. So, do you see a lot of properties on the South Side?
No, I'm actually, as we're talking really seriously, thinking about, the actual process of how do we make money, informing our people, educating our people to the degree of how to save their property. Because now, you can make money two ways out of this thing here, because there are going to be people that don't want to keep the property, no doubt about it. There's going to be people that don't want to keep the property, and see, one thing for me personally is I'm trying, and I'm not going to get into the thinking of Caucasian people. When I say that, I'm saying that on this level, I'm going to achieve all that I know that I can without having a dogmatic type of capitalistic way of doing things. And that's the thing that we have to tightrope our entrepreneurship on. Because I know some people, I know some of my associates that I know that buy properties like that, and I know one situation where a guy, he did that, and because he's a bully, you know, and he knows how to handle himself in these streets like that, I literally watched him bully a family, and I didn't like that, you know, and I taught him some things about buying real estate. And one of the things I shared with that brother was, you know, if the family wants to stay in that house, you know, then no homeowner wants to become a renter. No homeowner wants to become a renter. So
right.
The thing that ain't gonna that would never fly with me. Now, the thing that they could do is negotiate, or you or I could do is, if we have the cash available and that family wants to stay in that house, then we can work an arrangement where we can finance the loan or the money that it takes to actually pay to get that house off the tax list, and then put that in a contract. And if they forfeit that, then yes, it feels much better, because you tried to work with that person to keep them in the house and have that, you know, done up by a lawyer. But, you know, that's the way that I would approach that situation. Now, if there's a house that's empty and sitting there, or for me, a commercial property that's empty, and I can go to that tax sale and buy that thing, then that's exactly what I would do. Because I'm just personally, I know what that feels like. And I've never wanted to be in that position personally to take something from a family without trying to educate them about how to keep it first. So that's one of the reasons I've never really looked, because of that one bad experience that I actually saw a guy go through. Now, I got some contractor buddies that actually go to the tax sales, buy properties. They fix them up really nice. I actually had one that I was about to purchase, and I think 2 years ago I put it on my Facebook page. I probably pulled that up. Really nice rehab job he did. He wound up spending about $10,000 out of his own pocket, and he wound up selling the house after it was fixed for about $62,000. He paid something like $1,200, spent another $10,000, and then wind up selling it for $62,000. That right there is those are, because you're going to run across so many different type of scenarios when you're dealing with families that are in these homes, you know, and some of them are going to be smooth, some of them are not going to be smooth. And it just depends on the buyer, you know what I'm saying? And I know for me personally, you know, I would be that type of buyer that definitely would work with that family to keep them in their property, and you know, something like that. I love making money, and I love acquiring real estate.
I get it. I get it, and I understand, but I'm just going to be honest. If I'm buying property, I'm buying the property to make money. I'm not saying I want to oust the people out on their ear. That's not what I'm saying. But to earn an income from this, if they don't have to do anything, I don't know. When do you turn into a social worker for us to really aid and assist one another? Situations, you do have to put that hat on, but you know, where is it that you do have to be able to make money? And if the people can't pay, then what do you do? Because I know, like, there's situations where there's not even going to be utilities on, you know, they're not going to have trash service. There's going to be several things going on. You can assist them into getting some other sort of help. But if you have a property that you purchased and it's not making you, then what are you going to do in that situation?
Well, again, each property will be, you have to approach it differently, because you know, you may go into the property and it may be just a bunch of crackheads in there. And okay, so you know you're gonna that situation you may not be as tolerant with those people, you know. But I'm saying to the family that really wants to keep their property, and you know, then what you do, because in Missouri, from my knowledge, you after the third year and somebody comes in and buys that property in the tax sale, that property, the guy that lost the property still has 1 year to go and that's a redemption period. Because when I lost mine, the guy that bought it, Jason Dean is his name, a multimillionaire that's buying property on the south side, he couldn't do anything to that property for a whole year. Now, I had the option to still reclaim it, but he knew as an investor he wasn't going to invest anything into the property after a year, because he knew that I could come back.
Okay, so wait. So are you telling me that the property is not the property as soon as they buy it? Because that was the assumption that I had. So if you had property and he had a rate, then that's a redemption period. I thought there was no redemption period.
No, from what I know and from my experience, there is, even after the third year, the person who pays those taxes off, that homeowner, from my experience, and I was talking with, you know, the guys that was representing me at that time, that I could still file for try to get my property back by paying him the money that he paid for my property. How I didn't pursue that. I walked away. I let it go. I was satisfied with the little $17,000. No need for me to do that. You know what I'm saying? You know, and that's just what I did. You know, but I did have that option on the table. So
yeah, I think yours was a different situation because there's no redemption period here.
Well, I don't know. Well, you know, I haven't looked into buying property on that level. Like I said, that was an option that I did have, and I didn't exercise it. So, that being a redemption period or not, it sounds like a redemption period to me, but I don't know the law when it comes to that. That's an area that I'm gray at, so I can't, you know, say yay or nay to that.
Well, let's do this. Let's at least. Huh?
I said that was my situation, and that situation is not any different from anybody else's in St. Louis if they went through the court system. When it comes to losing your houses and taxes, I lost my property for not paying 3 years of taxes on it, and that was the outcome. Even after the property was purchased, that I still could go back and pay that guy the $8,000 and got my property back. I just didn't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, a lot of people are not going to want to do that because they don't know that they can do that, for one, because if they don't have a real estate attorney, nobody's really telling them that they can do that. So usually they'll walk away from it. And sometimes there's some money up under the table being paid out to the people to just let it go.
Right. I can understand that. I mean, all kind of deals are being made, but let's look at this overview, because I have, and you have too, Robert, the tax sale. We have the list, but we have the web page too. I'm going to send you the web page. I'm sure you have it, but I'll send it to you anyway, so we can kind of look at that. Maybe it'll give us the answers that we need. We don't really want to be guessing, but of course we are going to the tax sale. So if you all have looked at this information and you've decided that you want to purchase from the tax sale, reach out to us. We are blacksinbusiness@gmail.com. We can definitely work something out. So the first page, I'm reading from my phone. It's at stlouismo.gov, okay? So it's land tax sales, schedule, and information. It says on this page, instruction, fees, what to expect, additional information. So let's look at the what to expect. It says, acquiring property through the sheriff's land tax sale may be highly technical and complicated. That's to throw you off. No, nothing's highly technical and complicated. You can do it, okay? So let me just squash that. We strenuously suggest that you consult an attorney before bidding on any parcel of property. For additional information, please call 314-622-4851. Additional information, and there's the Missouri revised statute. Okay, so it says, okay, pursuant section 92.840.
You're breaking up. We can't hear you.
Then must file with you can't hear me?
Yeah, you were breaking up. It's like you were in and out.
Oh, okay. So pursuant to section 92.840 of the Missouri revised statute, the successful bidder should wait at least 2 weeks after the sale and then must file with Division 29 in the Circuit Court of the City of St. Louis a motion to confirm the sale of property and must have the appraiser at the confirmation hearing to testify to the reasonable value of the property. The purchaser must also notify the attorney for the collector of revenue, the attorney for the sheriff, the previous owner, and all lien holders of record, if any, of the date of the confirmation hearing through the mail. It is the purchaser's responsibility to provide the court at time of confirmation hearing a full legal description of the property purchased. Failure to do so may result in additional expense and delay in recording the deed. If the successful bidder fails to pay for the property by the end of the day, the parcel is re-offered the next day. If the bidder price for the same parcel of property is significantly less than the bid price on the first day, a loss results which can be recovered against the original successful bidder. And that's MoDOT revised statute 513240. Okay. The sheriff will proceed to recover the loss with costs by filing a motion to the Circuit Court of the City of St. Louis against the original successful bidder. So you can't go up in there bidding and not getting the property, because they're going to come after you for some loss if the person is if the second person is able to get that bid down, because that's just what happens sometimes. So it leaves the information for the sheriff, like if you need to contact them. And let's see, related services, housing, conservation inspection, alarm registration. That's all this other stuff you guys can go through on your own. Let's see. And then there's another list, the LRA list. The LRA, let's see if they tell us what LRA actually stands for. Okay.
Land
Reutilization Authority. That's what it is. Okay, so that is what happens to the property if nobody buys it. It goes to the LRA, okay? So this says updated LRA owned property search is available. So they have a list for those properties also. Again, we are kind of new at this. From what I've seen with the LRA properties, it's something a little derelict. It doesn't mean all of them are derelict, but they could be. So you got to just use your eyes, okay? And you got to, just do some research. So it says purchasing city-owned property through the Land Reutilization Authority, or LRA, is an effective way to invest in the growth of St. Louis neighborhoods by putting once neglected properties back into productive and effective use. In many cases, it is a win-win situation for the buyer and the neighborhood. The LRA-owned property search tool on the City of St. Louis website can assist with efficiently searching the city's land bank for these LRA-owned properties. Now, users may notice a few changes on that website. Search options and the layout of search results have been updated. So that's about the LRA. Let me see here. Take a closer look at these search options. They're just trying to let you know that they've updated their website, which is a wonderful thing, I guess. And if we want to talk about LRA property, again, my grandmother's property is an LRA property, and it's been like sitting for 11 years. And Robert and I actually went down to the city because I was like, I'm going to get that property. I know I'm going to get that property. I'm going to get that property. $1,000, that's nothing. I'm going to get that property, right? Well, wrong. Okay. So we went down to the LRA office for the meeting, and you're not just going to go down there and tell them you want the property. No, they want to see basically how you plan on paying for that. Do you have the money to pay for that? Are you who you say you are? They want to know what you're going to use it for. They want to know what your timeline is to fix the property, because you only have 18 months to fix the property. Now, looking at my grandmother's property, I saw the outside, of course, but they want you to get a permit and go on the inside. Now, they will pull the board off for you to go on the inside, or you could pull the board off yourself and go on the inside, but you got to fill out a document, which is actually a permit. We haven't gone on the inside of that property yet. I'm not really excited anymore at all. I mean, it doesn't mean that we won't go on the inside, but personally, I'm not that person, really. I'm just not that person. I'm excited about that, but it just seems like a lot of work, because I can see, I know what the house used to look like, and looking at it now, it's like, oh Lord, who and what is living in that property, because it looks crazy. So we actually sat down with the lady at the LRA office who takes in your information. Once she takes in your information, then it has to go before a board of people, and then it's approved or not approved, whatever. And then you can get started on the work. But it's a process. It's a process. None of this is not a process. It's all, work you have to do. But I would encourage you all not to be discouraged, because, again, this is how wealth is built. You're not going to build wealth by sitting and twiddling your thumbs. But these are the best ways to earn real estate, or to gain real estate, I should say. Through these tax liens where you're just going to go to the auction and bid, or the LRA properties where you're going to have a plan, a financial plan showing how you plan on fixing it up. I mean, I don't see why we can't be buying these blocks up for real. I mean, people talk about what we need to do and what we should be doing. Oh my goodness, we could probably own St. Louis, really, if people decided to really come together and just bit by bit buy these properties, especially the ones that they're trying to gentrify. I'm in awe, because we have people who are entrepreneurs. We have people who are working jobs. And if in even small groups, we decided to get together and buy these properties, oh my goodness, before you know it, we would have a black town, a thriving black town, versus what we see going on now. Robert, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Again, I always reconfirming there is no one best way to buy real estate. I mean, the mathematics speak the loudest to me. So if you can get it for $1,000, then mathematically that was the best way. But the object of it and the goal to it is to obtain some real estate, some property, some land, and that's definitely what you need to be doing. And even in doing that, real estate goes deeper than just the actual physical bricks, but that's a whole nother subject. So definitely, to our listening audience, take a trip downtown to the Civil Courts building and go to the Sheriff's Department, or go online to Missouri.gov to find out when the tax auction is. And if you got time, if you're not working, which they usually have it during the work day, so that eliminates a large percentage of people being able to even go. See, that's why doing for self is so very valuable, because you can't. No, typically you're not going to take off your job, or your job is not going to allow you that time off. You have to either lie to them and tell them it's some emergency. I mean, if that's what you have to do, I guess that's what you have to do. But these type of events are being held while most of America is at work, and that's just not here in St. Louis. They don't have auctions on the weekend for housing. No. That stuff is done during the week, so that the general public does not have the opportunity to even attend. These auctions are held for entrepreneurs.
Well, I will tell you this. In talking to Tiffany, because of course we know Tiffany bought a property last year. She said the first day it's like a madhouse, because the sale is for 3 days. She said the first day is crazy, but there are people that bid on property and they don't actually buy it. If you don't pay for that thing by 2:00, it goes back on the block, on the auction block. So the second day it dies down. There's hardly there's not as many people there. And then the third day, there's even less people. So if there was a property that you wanted and somebody got it, but then they didn't pay for it, it's back on there, and you might get it for even less money. So even if you're not prepared to go right now, you should go. Even if you're not prepared to go right now, you should prepare yourself to go right now. Like Robert said, if you are on a job and you need to tell them, hey, I'm not coming to work today or whatever, you need to do that. I mean, you really need to do this, because this is a great opportunity for you to engage in some higher living, honestly. I mean, how do you get to a different level in life? Not by hanging around and doing the same different things that you've been doing. But if you just attend this tax sale, I mean, just attend it to see how it goes, you'll start really going through the motions of understanding how it works. And before you know it, you'll be bidding on it yourself. I mean, I don't know what the fear would be, but I see houses on here for like $551. Seriously. $551. Here's one for $924. Again, these are numbers that people have lost their house to, or that they're losing their house to. Guess what? I even saw my cousin on here. I was like, oh my gosh. So I called her. I was like, and I don't even know this cousin, but she had the same last name as me, and I'm in St. Louis. So I'm like, you don't know me. We're Facebook friends and we're cousins, but are you losing your house on the tax sale? And so we were talking about it, and she basically told me that she didn't want the house anymore. And it's like Robert was saying, sometimes you'll run into people that don't want the house anymore for whatever reason. Now, she told me that the house was super, super hood, that she'd been broken into 3 times. She hasn't lived in the house in a very long time. I don't really know her story because, again, I don't know her. She's my cousin, but I don't know her. I just happened to see her name on the tax sale list, and she had a story. So all 15 pages of these people have a story. Where do you fit into their story? Where? Okay? Where do you fit into this story to where you could make some money and or help somebody with their property? We were talking to Tiffany again. I was able to give her the information to, what's her name? LaKanya Murray, who was on our show. She calls herself the entrepreneur's attorney or the business attorney. And LaKanya was able to draw up a document for Tiffany to where, Tiffany can go in and she can contact these people and she can say to them, hey, you know what? If you want to stay in your house and you can't afford to pay the last 2 years, I'll pay the 2 years for you. But in her paying the 2 years for them, they're going to have to deed the house, quitclaim deed the house over to Tiffany. And Tiffany owns the house until they pay her those back with interest, So the people are able to stay in the house, but in order for them to stay in the house, they're going to have to pay her back the amount she paid plus that interest. How can you help? Where do you fit into their story? Like I said, and there's so many people on these lists. I mean, 15 pages is just a lot of people. And then there's like whole businesses on here, you know, and what I'm drawn to, at first I was drawn to the little numbers, like when you see stuff that's like $500, it's like, oh my goodness, what is that? But now I'm drawn to the bigger numbers. Like if I see something that's $25,000, even $5,000, here's one for $49,512 that I looked at, 3620 Chippewa Street, Jim Wright and Sons, and Jim Wright and Sons Inc. So I looked that up, and it's a business. So there's commercial property on here too. It's not just houses. You know, do you need a commercial property? Do you need a business building? This is where you should be looking. I don't care. Whatever kind of property you need. Do you need a child care? Do you need a child care home? You could definitely find one on this list. I mean, it takes some work.
Acres of land on there.
They have what?
Just flat land, or and you can just buy a lot off of there, because even the lot parcels are being taxed.
Did you see a lot on here somewhere?
No, but there's some on there. But any land that's being taxed and it's not being paid, the taxes are not paid for, it's going to be on there.
Okay, well that's good to know. So if you wanted just a parcel of land, okay, so when we were down at the LRA office, remember we asked the lady about buying land, and she told us that you actually have to have a plan to build on the land. So this is different though. This is the tax sale. So
right.
If you buy this, you're not going to be expected to build on the land. That's not going to be that.
Right. You just you own the land. Now you're going to have to maintain the land.
Right. Until you decide to sell it or build on it or whatever.
Right. So you just cut the grass and keep it clean. They're going to expect for you to do that, you know. And depending on what neighborhood it's in and who's the alderman, then that determines how often they're going to harass, if they harass. You know, a lot of times you buy a lot in the city. Anybody that's in the city know that you can get away with a lot in the city of St. Louis. You know, there's certain areas in the city that just the aldermen don't police you like that. But then there's other areas where, man, if you have if like where we at right now, we don't get tickets for litter that blows down the block in front of our house.
Thank God. Oh my goodness. Ooh.
In South St. Louis, it was like that though. You know, you have a neighbor. Now all it takes is a neighbor to call, and there it goes. That's rats. In South St. Louis, on the California address I was at, and that was one of the issues. I had a neighbor that was just a butthole like that. But certain areas, again, you know, you will have those aldermen that enforce cleanliness, and it ain't your fault. You know what I'm saying? You got trash blowing down the block from a block or two away, and then they expect for you to clean it up. But however, you know, those are small misdemeanors. But those are some of the things that you encounter dealing with city when you buy in certain neighborhoods. So definitely, you want to know where you're buying and who. All that stuff makes a difference. You just want to, when you look at these properties, it would be wise to also know who the alderman is. You go buy these properties. You get this tax list. You need to go in the community where this property is.
Well, some people don't know what an alderman is, because like me, I didn't know what that was when I moved here, because I'm not used to no alderman situation. I know what a mayor is, but an alderman. So Wikipedia says an alderman is a member of a municipal assembly or council in many jurisdictions founded upon English law, just like everything else. The term may be titular, denoting a high-ranking member of a borough or county council, a council member chosen by the elected members themselves rather than a popular vote for a council member elected voters. So that's an alderman. But St. Louis has aldermen all over the place because, I mean, there's like these little tiny, I don't know, what are they called? Cities? I mean, what are they?
Wards. They call wards.
Okay, wards, yes. Yeah, I'm not used to that. We do not have that in Washington State. And if they did, a new term for me. But yes, so I don't know, because I'm still with the whole alderman situation. I wonder, like, what is these people's job? Because I do look at how messed up the areas can be and how much trash is all over the place, and the liquor stores and just all this different stuff. I'm like, well, what does the alderman actually do? And I want to go and interview these people and find out what it is that they actually do. What is their plan? Because I see nothing going on in the city, really. I mean, I really don't. And then I want to interview that church that that you were talking to me about, because I mean, it's just a big mess. People losing their houses. There's trash everywhere. I don't understand how this stuff is supposed to work out. But again, if you all are interested, please reach out to us. If you even want to reach out to us and call into the show, you can definitely do that. But right now we are going to take a break, and we'll be back in just a second. You listen to Blacks in Business Radio.
SiSi, we'll be getting started with that in just a second. Having some issues. All right, here we go.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. I would like to invite you to join Every.Black, the premier digital marketplace and directory for Black businesses and entrepreneurs. Membership benefits include representation on 12 websites, 12 Facebook pages, and 12 Twitter accounts. Your company will also be featured in the monthly e-letter. Sign up today by typing in Every.Black. Use the discount promotional code SISI. For more information, call 253-343-7284. When it comes to promoting your business, remember Every.Black.
Make Black Talk Radio your choice for digital black radio. New black media for the new millennium.
All right, everyone, we are back. This is Blacks in Business Radio on Black Talk Radio Network. Please support blacktalkmediaproject.org and some of the great radio programs on this network. All right, we are back. And this week we are talking about tax lien properties again. This is like a part 2. Again, Robert and I are not experienced in this, but I feel very comfortable because we have integrated ourselves into this situation, and we are like ready. Ready for what? I don't really know, but we are ready. So this sale is happening next week. I think it's the 29th. The website says that. Do you see when it starts, Robert? When is the sale?
Excuse me. I don't see it anywhere. I'm looking at some of the properties now, but I don't see notice. No, I don't see the sales date.
The sales date is, I know where it is because I've looked at it, but I just don't recall. Let's see here. August 29th is the sale date. Okay. August 29th. All right. Mm-hmm. So time and location. Sales are held at 9:00 a.m. in the new location for the land tax sale. 4th floor, Civil Courts Building at 10 North Tucker Boulevard, downtown St. Louis. Okay, so that address again is 10 North Tucker Boulevard, downtown, 9:00 in the morning, and that's August 29th. So if you're not ready to purchase for whatever reason, come to the tax sale just to see how it goes. Come to all 3 days. I'm going to be there all 3 days. I can tell you, I'm going to do that. I think we're even taking a small child with us, because now we have to get really back into entrepreneurship. Are you teaching your children at a young age what it is to build wealth? You can give them the tools, even if you're not wealthy yourself. Your ceiling should be their floor. Where you left off, they should be able to take off. Okay? So if I'm not a property owner, I should be giving my children the tools to be successful property owners. Not telling them that they need to have a 7,000 credit score so that they can get a mortgage. I'm not into the mortgage situation. I'm not saying mortgages are bad, but that's for me and mine. No, when I know about this type of thing, no, I expect my lineage, my bloodline, to be able to go to the tax sale and know how to purchase property that way. Okay? And then, of course, like Robert always talks about, owner financing. How could a person benefit from owner financing with this tax sale, Robert?
Well, I mean, you know, the thing that I want to piggyback off of what you just said about mortgages. You know, mortgages in the conventional way. See, there's a conventional way and there's a non-conventional way. And mortgages in the conventional way is definitely not a win for you. And for me, it's just not a win. Anything that is a 30-year, 8% loan is crazy.
I never understood that. That was always crazy. Because when I think about 30 years, that's a whole lot of my life that I'm paying for something. I don't want to pay for something for a month, much less 30 years. Ooh.
And that's just one piece of property.
Mm-mm.
Usually people just buy one piece of property over a span of 30 years. And that's your 9-to-5 person that just, you know, likes baseball, eat apple pie, hot dogs, and drive Chevrolet.
Oh, my gosh. Who is that? Wow.
That's what they say in the commercials, y'all. I didn't make this up. This is what they sing on the Chevrolet commercials. Hot dog, apple pie, Chevrolet. So, you know.
And baseball.
And baseball, right. And so, but the thing that another way of creating this generational wealth, you buy these properties, you fix these properties up. The same guy that I told you about that bought a property for like $1,200, put $10,000 in it, and then sold it outright for cash for $60. He wind up out of that $60. He wind up getting about 40. I think he said 45,000 out of the deal after he paid taxes or whatever. Well, now see, most people don't have good discipline when it comes to having lump sums of cash in their hand. Cash has a way of quickly getting out of your possession. So the smart thing, in my opinion, would be to always set up cash flow. And with buying properties like this, you can easily create mortgage notes that are good for both you, the seller, and fair to the buyer. Now, we're not conventional. So, again, we're not thinking like the conventional Caucasian or Jewish person that definitely wants to suck the lifeblood out of your financial life. We're thinking of like, or should be thinking like, men and women of God that want to do good by our brothers and our sisters or fellow human beings. So we have to walk that tightrope because we don't want to be like thinking like these vultures or these bloodsuckers. So you create a mortgage the same way the bank do, the exact same way the bank do, but without all the fluff or the mystery that goes behind it, you know.
Right.
And this is that I actually show people how to do, you know, and it's a very simple mathematical process once you learn it. You know, once you get it, you get it. But most people can't even fathom the ideal of creating a mortgage note, because the main question I hear when I talk to them about mortgage notes is, well, where's the money coming from? How am I going to finance $60,000? I don't have the money. And my statement behind that to them is, you never even see the money when you go in and get financing for a $40,000, $20,000 car. You never see the money when you go into a bank for a conventional $60,000 loan. You never see cash other than the cash that you bring as a down payment. Other than that, you never see the cash. That's because there is no cash. It is all black and white, pen and paper. Mm-hmm. That's all it is.
So do you think it's just like a brainwashing because people have a hard time coming out of that conventional way of thinking? Like they think, okay, something could be criminal, I'm doing something wrong. You know, I think that's probably what it is, because I'm telling you, I went to real estate school not to become a realtor, but just to see what it was about. You know, right before I moved here, I went to real estate school, I think the summer before. And in going to real estate school and comparing it to what we're talking about now, oh, you would think there was something criminal just because of all the stipulations they put on things and the big words, and they make it seem like it's a big to-do when you buy a house. It's a big to-do to buy a house and property when you go conventional, because it is confusing. All those paperwork, documents, and things, they're meant to confuse you. They don't make sense to even the real estate agents, okay? They don't even know what they're doing. So your best bet would be to go non-conventional, to where you can understand it, not just for yourself, but again, for those children that you need to teach to build wealth, even if you haven't done so.
You don't need an agent to go to a title company to do a title search on a property. You don't need a real estate agent to do that, nor do you need a bank to do that. You do exactly what they do. They go and they pay title companies to do that type of stuff. Those title companies are private entities. They're not associated with the bank. So the bank has to operate as an entity, just like you have to operate as an entity, you know, and you go to those companies and you pay for their service. You know, you can that's an option that you have. If you're buying it directly from an owner, then if you have some construction background, or you know you've been taught or been around that environment, then you can walk into a property and, well, for a title search, you want to know if there's some liens and stuff like that. On the constructional side of it, yeah, but on the hidden side, the lien side, the lawsuit side, it would be wise to go and have a title search done on that property, because you just can't walk in the property and see a lawsuit, a lien, or something like that against the property. There's no way of knowing that unless you have a title company go in and do that title work on that property. Because I can go and sue you and put a lien on your property. If I do work on your property and you don't pay me, I could go put a lien on your property. And when you get ready to sell that property, I have to be one of those people that you satisfy at the sale of that property. I'm going to get mine, or whoever else that has a lien that needs to be satisfied, they're going to get theirs.
That's why you need to put that property in your business name. How about that?
Well, even if it's your business name, it just won't affect you personally, but the business still has to pay those people that have that lien on it. I mean, it'll hold up your sale.
Yeah, I understand, but it seems like if you have it in your business name, I don't know how a person goes about putting the lien on the property. I guess you could just do the address. I'm thinking you have to have the person's name, but no, I guess you could just use the address. I don't know. But don't get a lien on your property, people. So separate that from, like, the tax sale, because I don't want people to think that they have to do a title search in the tax sale and all that. They don't need to do that because the city has already satisfied those notifications.
You say separate? Yeah. Well, see, that would be now. See, that's not my area of expertise there, because that would be a question that definitely I would want to ask. What if there's a lien on the property? How is that handled? Is that transferable, or
No.
does that?
No, we talked to the deed lady or the LRA lady. Remember, she said that they've already sent those notifications out to the people, and if they want to come in and do something at that time, then they would. But they've already satisfied all that stuff. So, as a person getting a property from this sale, there's no liens or anything like that you're going to have to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
But what you were talking about was, you were talking about the actual doing an owner financing. Now, when I said talk about the owner financing, what I was thinking was, let's just say you do get one of these properties, and there's a couple scenarios you could have. What if there is a person in it? I mean, you do want to get your money back, and they do have to start paying you some kind of way, so you could finance it some kind of way. But then what if you get a property and there's nobody in it, and it's perfectly fine? I mean, it's ready to go. It's just whoever moved out 5 years ago, and there's nothing wrong with the property. And you decide, instead of renting the property out, which is a headache, you want to owner finance it. And the benefit, from what I understand, because I've never owner financed a property, but Brother Robert has, of course, and you should reach out to him at weareblacksinbusiness@gmail.com. If you want to talk to him about doing owner financing, he can definitely teach you. But a benefit to owner financing would be you are actually the bank. You are becoming the bank for somebody that wants to own this house that you own, okay? So now that the person is buying the property, you're not renting it to them. They are responsible for the repairs on that home. So you're not going to get somebody calling you saying, oh my goodness, my door is off the hinges, or oh my goodness, this needs to be done, that needs to be done. That then becomes their responsibility, because they are now the owner. They're owning it. They're purchasing it from you, just like they would from a bank. And just wrap your head around it. Instead of paying a bank a bunch of interest, you are paying somebody that you might know, like they're your bank. Or you're getting paid from somebody you might know. You're acting as their bank. It's called owner financing. You want to add anything to that, Robert?
Yeah, and the benefits, there are quite a few benefits from it, because one of the financially and then taxation part of it, there is no capital. The capital gains tax is on a whole nother level. You're talking about owner finance. Capital gains tax, when you're doing a cash deal, is somewhere around upwards around 21% of that cash deal. Now, you can avoid that if you're an investor. They know to file. There's a tax form 10-something. I'm not sure what it is. And that way you're going to buy another piece of property with the proceeds of this sale, and that money is going to go into that thing. So you can offset the capital gains tax. Sharper investors know about that. My thing
it's
has been
it's Schedule D, Form 1040.
Okay. You see, my thing has been, I haven't really focused on real estate on that level to where, I know it like that. What I focus on in real estate is commercial property based, because when I open up a retail store, I want to be able to own that property and keep my costs down low in my retail experience. And, so I look at McDonald's as my model, those places like that. So I didn't look at real estate as far as creating homes for people. I looked at real estate as far as creating opportunity to retail as well as live in the property. But back to the financial part of it. So when you're financing that property, the capital gains tax is on a whole nother different level from when you have it on a mortgage that's 10 years versus getting all that cash up front. Just think about the lottery. When a person wins the lottery, the capital gains tax, if you take a lump sum of money, if you cash out, if you win $500 million, you're probably going to get around somewhere around $270, $80 million lump sum cash. Now, that's capital gains taxes in full effect, for real. And that's the thing that I've looked at, and I'm like, well, how are they taking almost half of the people's money when you get into that kind of bracket? I mean, the more you make, what is it called that they can come and take damn near half of what you make? And I'm sure there's some listeners out there that know that. But in real estate, it's in any large lump sum of money deal, it's pretty much like that. But when you now let's flip that. When you decide not to take the lump sum but take monthly payments, that puts you in a whole nother bracket of being taxed on that money. Same with real estate mortgages. It does the same exact thing. So you win there. That's one advantage. The other advantage is, as you said, you become the bank. Now, this is where people get confused when it comes to owner financing. You becoming the bank doesn't mean you have $60,000 out of your pocket and then you're going to give this person over here across from you $60,000 cash, so you're going to loan that to them and then they're going to pay you a monthly mortgage out of that. No, because you wouldn't get your $60,000 if that was the case. You just wouldn't get it because that money would be gone quickly, okay? What it means is, on paper, you're writing out a loan for a specific amount of time and a specific amount of interest rate that's contractual between you and the other person or the other entity, okay? Then you record that at the recorder of deeds. Just how it is said and done, so that now that property is no longer in your name or your corporation's name. That property has been deeded over to this entity here. They are to pay XYZ amount of money a month. It is recorded, and if they forfeit, you have that right to foreclose on the loan. Everything is recorded, so when it goes into court, they have the documentation that was stamped and sealed by a notary down in City Hall that says this is how this was supposed to go down, and it didn't go down this way. So you go back in front of the judge to reclaim your property or the property at that time, and then it becomes your property again. So that now what's the advantage in doing all that? That's an option that you will have. The goal is to not take the property back. The goal is to it should be to continue working with the homeowner to continue your cash flow. That should be your goal. So if your cash flow has to be reduced for $100 or maybe $150 less than what it was getting, then you have the ability or the creativity to structure the refinance of your loan however you want to. The same way the big banks do it, you can do it on a smaller level. Okay, so you can refinance it for the homeowner so it can accommodate their particular loss of income, the time frame until the income is like it should be or could be the way that they desire. And how would I do that? I would simply restructure that loan and raise the interest rate. Now, you're going to make less money on the monthly note, but by raising the interest rate, you're going to make more money in the long term. Now, most people don't really look hard enough at loan documents, the interest rate payoff payment. You know, when you do a 20-year, 30-year, or let's do conventional. When you do a 30 loan on $60,000, I could do it real quick, but I'm just going to guesstimate it. If you do a 30-year loan on a $60,000 loan, you're going to probably be somewhere around $80,000 in interest. Oh, I'm sorry, you have to, let's just say it's at 8%, because that loan would, the loan amount would change based on the interest rate. So if it's 8%, you're going to be up there probably around $80,000. But if it's like 3%, you're probably going to be somewhere around $40,000, $30,000 or something
that's
like that.
That's still too much.
Huh? Well,
that's still too much.
It may be, but at the time, it may accommodate the buyer's pocket. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And see, the lender got to get something for lending the money. If I'm gonna allow you to come into this building, my property, and you want to be there, you want to buy it, and you don't have the cash up front to make me a cash offer, or I don't even want a cash offer. Well, okay, we can negotiate, but I got to get paid something for creating the avenue of allowing you to make monthly payments.
Right.
You know, because it's a loan.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all fair, but it doesn't have to be predatory, like, or vulturous, like America has been to black people. We are to be to one another fair and just. Okay, so what is fair and just when it comes to interest on a loan? Well, you have to work those numbers out, and if it's fair and just to you, and it's fair and just to the person, then and everybody agrees, But for me, at the very most I would do would be 6%. At the very most, I would do 6%. And at the very most, in terms of years that I would do 20 years.
Right.
At the very most. And that depends on how expensive the property is. If the property is only $30,000, then we're only going to do 10 years on that. 40,000, 50,000, 10 years.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, in that financing deal, would you, because I know you can do this, would you request that the person you are paying, the creditor, would you request that they report this to the credit agency? Why or why not?
I mean, you could. You definitely can do that. You can ask that the seller to report your payments to the credit bureau if that's what you like to be done, and if that's what he want to do, then that can easily be done.
No, I'm talking about you. I know. I'm saying, would you do that?
Would I report?
Yeah. Would you have the creditor? If things were laid out how you want to lay them out, would you report them to the creditor, or would you have them report them to the creditor?
If they ask for it, I would look into doing that for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people want to be in the system like that.
Mm-hmm.
Some people want to have, they still in this system. For me, I could care less about credit. I just really can, because see, I'm living in a different frame of mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, although business is business, but business is spiritual as well. You know, and, you know, MLK, Martin Luther King, before he was assassinated and murdered, he said that he believed, he had a theory that he believed that he integrated his people into a burning house. So what does that mean for you? But what does it mean to me? What does it mean to me is that these, in America, they have systems that they have put into play that really are opposite of what is truth. But they do reward the ones that are in the know great money. You're gonna profit greatly off of these systems.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, bartering is better for me than money. Bartering.
Right.
But that's not the norm. So if it's not the norm, then you still stuck into a monetary system of doing things. But so, you know, I mean, if that person asks for that, okay, fine. But for me personally, I'm not worried about that, you know, because I know how to maneuver. There's no, and it's not maneuvering or being slick. No. The things that we don't know and the things that we were taught to know, what we were taught to know is really not what you need to know. It's what the things that we were not taught is what you need to know. Because a lot of people that know how to do things, they don't have to depend on the system for anything. They capitalize off it. That's why a working man has far less tax options than a corporation, a self-employed or a business. A self-employed man has a lot of tax options, but a corporation has even more tax options. You see, so you really got to get into the understanding of how this thing works. You know, and if you believe that it takes money to make money, if you believe that, then that's going to be your reality. I don't believe that.
Right. Well, I mean, that is definitely a brainwashing, and it depends on how you're looking at things. Because it doesn't. I mean, I know that I started my business without any money. I had nothing. I used what I had, you know. If people would learn to use what they have, then they totally can go forward with getting what they need, you know. We have to have a break right now. You're listening to BIB Radio. We'll be back after these messages.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Black Talk Radio since 2008, providing new black media for the masses.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. I would like to invite you to join Every.Black, the premier digital marketplace and directory for black businesses and entrepreneurs. Membership benefits include representation on 12 websites, 12 Facebook pages, and 12 Twitter accounts. Your company will also be featured in the monthly e-letter. Sign up today by typing in Every.Black. Use the discount promotional code SISI. For more information, call 253-343-7284. When it comes to promoting your business, remember Every.Black. All right, everybody, you're within the last half hour of our show. We want to thank you for listening, of course. Please join me, like the commercial said, on Every.Black. Type it in just like that, Every.Black, and use the promotional code SISI. Okay, so again, we're in the last half hour talking about these tax liens. The tax sale is coming up, 15 pages long of property. Robert, you've been looking at property. Tell me what properties have stuck out to you.
All of them that have LLC or a business name on them.
Yeah, I was looking at that too.
Because I'm not the guy that likes residential property. So
right.
For me, I love commercial property. And if anybody understood, I mean, you just get more for your money.
Right, most definitely, especially if you have a working plan in place, for that property. Oh, my goodness, so much. And we tend to make the most simplest things so difficult. And for me, I know I tend to do that too. Like, I'll make a mountain out of a molehill, or I'll make a molehill into a mountain, and it's like totally unnecessary. We overthink things that are most detrimental to us being progressive. It's so easy to stay in what you know and what you're familiar with, even if it's not good for you, even if it's not getting you anywhere. It's so difficult sometimes for us to venture out and decide to take, a leap of faith. I mean, this is a no-brainer to just at least go to the tax sale people.
I have
and
a question.
If you're not in, okay, go ahead, Scotty.
Yes, I mean, what y'all discussed thus far tonight, it doesn't take much of a leap of faith. I mean, it is what it is. The price, the tax lien is what it is. Everything that y'all put forth is straightforward. It's a simple process in my mind, the way that y'all described it tonight. But my question is, I'm like Robert, so like in terms of institution building, so I know y'all remember or may have heard me talk about how I would like to have Black Talk Media Centers in different areas around the country where we could then build, a radio station just for that local area where people could come in and broadcast and all that good stuff. Learn how to do it. Also, link up with local businesses and do promotions and things of that nature. But before I was thinking, okay, renting. You always, as a businessman, looking at your overhead. And so renting is not good because I was just at a mall with somebody the other day and they was saying just how much it cost a month just to get in this particular mall. I think he was saying something like $10,000 a month. This is rent. This is rent, depending upon the location and what have you. So I'm thinking, okay, I just heard Robert say, I'm looking at the LLC. So it's commercial property on there, and what does some of the tax bills look like? I would think, just make an assumption, I don't know, that a business property tax bill would be bigger than a residential, but I could be wrong. But what you've given me to tuck away, because right now, well, I'm not going to say what we can and cannot do, but that seems like a more viable plan, long-term plan for me, is to buy tax liens on business properties and that would, go check them out and make sure they're suitable, because I don't need such a large property. You know what I'm saying? Just really one big open space. So, so what are some of the bills like for the businesses on there?
Well, I would like for you to actually go on the website so that you can see them. But, I mean, they're amazingly low. Even on the LLCs, they're low. And like Robert was talking about before, you can actually purchase lots, because people have not purchased or paid their taxes on these lots. And Robert and I were also talking about containers, because I know they're doing these things with these tiny houses and they're doing things with these containers. So you could buy a lot and put a container on it and hook it up. And I know where you are in North Carolina, you have that trailer that you wanted to turn into something. So, I mean, it's the same thing. You go purchase the property, put the container on there, put a trailer on there, something like that. It doesn't have to be anything huge. But if you needed something bigger than that, then sure, look on here and find something. I'm trying to figure out what is the biggest bill I see on here. I mean, like it was maybe, here's one, $31,000, and that's a church. Okay, so I mean, the variety is crazy on here, like what you will find that is available. But I would say, go ahead to the link. I'll put the link on Facebook right now. Go to the link and just kind of search through the properties. Again, it's 15 pages long. I'm sure you can find something that is suitable to put a Black Talk Media network on there, Black Talk Media project on that property. I'm sure you can find something.
Let me say this to you, Scotty. Those tax bills are based upon tax appraisal. So your tax bill is based upon your appraised value from your city or county. It's not, your tax bill is not from your real estate appraisal, what it's sold for or what it's worth. It's not that. It's appraised for like my property. A tax appraiser for the city of St. Louis would come out and say, well, that property looks like it's only worth $15,000, so his yearly taxes will be $1,500 a month. So based on the area and based on what the assessor, the tax appraiser assesses the value of the property at, determines how much the yearly taxes are going to be. Now, that property that she's talking about, how much did you just say? Like 30,000, 40,000?
31,000. That's church.
So that property yearly taxes is about $10,000 a year.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. Like, for example, there is a 2-acre piece of property in the family, and the taxes on average is on about $1,200 a year. And some of the other larger properties, of course, but there's nothing on them. That also figures into it, how much structure. But in terms of what we're talking about, like a Black Talk Media Center, man, like SiSi said, all I would need is a lot. But see, I ain't trying to buy no trailer, though. I would rather just have a little small building, okay. And then, and then, not paying rent, actually own it, and then would only have a tax bill of probably just a couple of $1,000 a year.
Well, that's very doable. That's very doable. And see, if you put in your mind the goal of what you want when you're searching for these things, I guarantee out of these 15 pages, you can find that.
Oh, yeah, you definitely can find it.
Because this is crazy. There's some property over here by us. I see so many on North Broadway. I see so many. And it's like, okay, we need to drive by and see we could Google it. But this one's $2,648. Crazy.
Yeah, now see, but now that's the part that you as the audience, you really have to have some boots on the ground, okay? Because you can Google it and you can get an idea of what it looked like or what you think it looked like. But if you don't physically go to that property, you may be disappointed if you just buy it based off of Google search.
Well, Robert.
Let's say this too. Let's say this too. Okay, so remember, you don't necessarily have to love it. You just have to be able to rent it, and somebody's going to rent it.
But you can pull it up on Google Maps and get a 360 view of the outside of the property. And then before I call somebody I might know in that area, but if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it locally, though. Or I'm going to have somebody actually there in that town. But, you could pull up the property before you spend gas, just driving across town, you can pull it up on Google Maps to look at the outside of the structure, and then, decide, then you'll go over there and you wouldn't be blind. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Exactly. That's how you should do that. That's exactly how you should do it. Because with the technology, it allows you to save on time and gas. So you pull it up, you look at it. If it catches your eye, then you put that down on your list of properties to go see. Because you need to go see the physical property. Because if you don't know by looking at it if it's rented out or not. Especially if you're looking at it on Google. So I mean, I can't tell you how often Google updates their pictures. I fixed my front windows on my building, and I know that's been about at least three months now. And every time I Google my building, I still see the picture of the building with the bad window and the finished window. So I'm like, how often do Google update their information? So Google is good, but hands on the feet on the boots on the ground is better. You Google it, like you said, Scotty. That's a very, very efficient way of doing it. You Google it, you get some idea of what the building looked like. You can pan around on Google to see the area, and then you go and put your hands, physically touch that property, physically go and see what's going on, And if you're interested, then you write that down and you keep on moving on those properties. But there's nothing like being able to get on the inside as well. But if there's somebody living there, as you said, SiSi, then that's a good sign, because if it's livable, then you got something that you can work with. Now, how nasty or how clean it is, hey, you have to see that later. If you don't want to see it, then you just do the other options that you have. You can work something out with the owner, or you can sell it to them, or however, you got options there. So, but you definitely, I would never buy anything I haven't actually physically seen. And I'm talking about in real time. I would never do that.
Right. Well, I am looking at a few of these properties here, and I'm wanting to go see them myself. And if you all, want to Google, like right now, I'm looking at something like Robert's talking about the LLC. This is owned by Kazakhstan Investments. Well, that already tells me that name, Kazakhstan. Okay. So the address is 5356 Queens Avenue. 5356 Queens Avenue. And the price on this ticket is $2,360. I Googled it. And see, I know what these areas look like in St. Louis when they're good and when they're bad. This one looks good to me because I'm going on Google and I'm driving with my little finger down the road, and it looks like something that I wouldn't mind owning. You know what I'm saying? It looks like an up-and-coming area. And then even when you, before you go on Google, it shows you right here what it's near. It's near it's near where we are now. I mean, but this neighborhood looks pretty good. It's not too far from that cemetery. It's not too far from Kings Highway. It's not too far from like how we're going to Whole Foods. I don't know. It looks like a good neighborhood to me. It looks like a good property, I should say. But just go through the list, people. I mean, just go through the list. We could be your boots on the ground. Now, if you get to listen to this program before the tax sale, you can surely reach out to us. And, we're willing to go and look at the property for you. The next tax sale and the last one of the year is going to be in October. I don't know the exact date, but I know it's in October. They hold them 3 times a year. This one in August. There was one 2 or 3 weeks ago? Yeah, something like that, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And then there's one in October. So let us know. Reach out to us. We are blacksinbusiness@gmail.com. If you see a particular property that you may like, if you're here in St. Louis, take advantage of this. There's property that is in the Central West End on here. there's a property on here. I don't remember where that one is. I'll have to find it. But there's property on here that is going to be worth millions. If you want to know which properties those are that are in those areas, reach out to us. weareblacksinbusiness@gmail.com. It's a shame that more of us don't know about this, but we won't know unless we tell each other. I've been telling people for the last, since we got this list, are you going to the tax lien sale? And they're like, what is that? So then I pull it up on my phone and I show people what these houses are going for. And you have some people that are like, oh my goodness, whatever. I don't know what their excuse is, but they have an excuse. They always have some kind of strange excuse. But if you have the money and if you have the means and if you have a system of people that may be willing to do this with you, I say go ahead and do it. Again, I'm excited. I think Robert's excited. Are you excited, Robert? I can't speak for you.
October, I'm going to buy another commercial piece of property in October.
Okay.
And I'm gonna save about $4,000, and in October, I'm gonna go to this tax auction sale, and I'm gonna purchase a piece of property for about $4,000.
Okay.
That's exactly what I plan to do, and I'm gonna make that happen. Family, all you got to do, I mean, there's properties on this list for as cheap as $500. That's the cheapest I've saw so far. Maybe some cheaper than that.
I've seen 500 too, 5 to 8. That's the cheapest ones I've seen. But here's one for 501. Yeah, there's some cheap ones on here. I'm telling you.
Now, I for me, because I know how to do a lot of the work that it takes to get a property up and going. Now, you got to plan properly. There's these 5 P's that just stand out in my mind, and I'm going to have to put that on the wall somewhere. The 5 P's: proper preparation prevents poor performance. And in order to perform properly, then you have an October date. We'll post the date of that next tax bill. Let me help you out. If you got 60 days, what is this? August, September, October. So let's just say you got 60 days out till the next tax sale. Okay, so if you were able to save $100 a day, then you would be saving something like $6,000 in 60 days. But if you can't save $100 a day, you save $50 a day, then you're down to $3,000. And if you can't save that, then go half of that, and you will be $1,500. Okay, so the point is, if you chip away at it, and you know that there's a house or houses, many houses for $1,500 and less, how about thinking about becoming a property owner for around $50 a day for the next 2 months? You can actually become a property owner. How about cutting back on the blunts or the alcohol?
On the blunts. Lord have mercy, stop the blunts. What?
Yeah. Because it's a lot of people that, on all social levels that get high. And there's a lot of people on all social levels that drink. There's a lot of people on all social levels that drink coffee. You know what I'm saying? So, but the point of it is and a lot of those people don't own property. So how about we cut back on some of those things that are not really doing us, that's not really giving us life or presenting the opportunity for generational wealth, both of them, wealth and health. And let's sacrifice for 30 days. Let's put at least $25 to $50 a day away. So you don't buy the coffee, you save that money. You don't buy the alcohol. Just 2 months, save that money. How about you try not to even eat meat for the next two months? Save that money. You see,
okay.
So you have to sacrifice something.
Okay, let me get in here before we have to get off the air. So, rest in peace, Dick Gregory. Okay, so we know Dick Gregory was from St. Louis, Missouri. There is a property here at 1916 Dick Gregory Place for $1,185. It's owned by Miss Alice Mitchell. This looks like a house that I would buy. Okay, let me just tell you that right now. I would buy this house that is on Dick Gregory Avenue or Dick Gregory Place. 1916 Dick Gregory Place, people. Let's honor Dick Gregory. Buy that house. How about that? Okay, so one more thing. Thank you for being with us tonight. One more thing. We have somebody that wanted a shout out tonight. Let me see if okay. Her name is Kimberly, and her business is called Gen X Staffing and Training. We hope to have her on the show one day. Gen X is a virtual staffing and recruitment staffing agency, and we serve clients and candidates across the United States. We are headquartered in Dallas, Texas, but we work remotely. We specialize in professional search for startups, technology, healthcare, design, creative, nonprofit organizations, and small to medium business corporations. We are comprised of a network of professional candidates that bring an array of experience to clients that span across organizations and industries. We started in January 2017 and currently have 4 talent advisors based in various parts of the United States. We look forward to building a relationship with our clients and candidates. And this is from Kimberly Rule of Gen X. She's the owner. And if you want to reach out to her, feel free to do so at area code 214-932-4027 extension 1. Her email address is krule@genxstaffing.com. That's krule@genxstaffing.com. All right. And on that note, we want to, again, encourage you all. Contact us at weareblacksinbusiness@gmail.com if you have any questions about this St. Louis tax sale about to happen, because we will be your boots on the ground. And join us next Thursday. We'll be talking about real estate again, I'm quite sure, because I've got something in the works. I just want to thank everyone for having this conversation with us tonight, whether you're listening live or on podcast. Reach out to us. Robert, what last words do you have for the people?
Scotty, can you just allow us to go out in a moment of silence when SiSi says that we're out of here? We just want to have a moment of silence for the Gregory family. Ron Gregory is someone who I admire, and I feel he comes down to the flea market. We have a good relationship with, and just out of respect for what his brother has done for the black community and black people abroad, we just want to end our show today. We normally have music, but we're just going to end our show today with a moment of silence. When SiSi closes out, we're just going to be off the air. Much love and respect to the Gregory family. Thank you for bringing forth such a wonderful human being. Thank you. Our condolences are to you all and your extended family.
All right, everybody. So I got a little story about that when we found out about our big brother, Dick Gregory, passing. I was in the bathroom watching a YouTube where Dick Gregory was speaking about an individual that was involved in the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. And Robert came in the bathroom and was like, "Did you know Dick Gregory died?" And I'm like, "What?" I mean, it was just so crazy. I'm like, how did this happen? And I'm sitting here watching him on YouTube. And I was just thinking to myself, I want to get a picture with him one day. And now I know that I won't get to get a picture with him one day. But you know what? May he rest in peace. And his legacy lives on. His message lives on. Hopefully we can do better by each other as, as a community, and do those things that so many before us have set forth for us to do. So we will take this moment of silence. You've been listening to Blacks in Business Radio. My name is SiSi, and you've been listening to myself and Brother Robert. Join us here next week and every Thursday at 7 p.m. on Black Talk Radio Network for Blacks in Business Radio. Good night, everybody.